Hello everyone, and welcome to a new Cosplay Storytime. Today, for your entertainment, I will be reliving some of my most embarrassing experiences from my time as a cosplayer, because y'all really like that, so gotta give the people what they want. But before we get into it, today's video is kindly sponsored by Karma. Karma is an app and Chrome extension that ensures that you never miss a coupon code or price drop. You can check the link below to learn more about Karma. I personally think that Karma is an incredibly helpful service. I primarily use it for photography and cosplay supplies, and not only has it helped me save money on items that I'm interested in, but it's also helped me shop more mindfully because you can save items for later and organize them into various wish lists, so you can therefore shop more mindfully, avoid making impulse buys, and also, of course, be notified when there's a price drop or a coupon code for an item that you're interested in. So it just overall is a really great service for if you're looking to save money, which obviously we're all looking to save money. So it's definitely a service that I recommend checking out. All you have to do is download Karma on Google Chrome, and from there you can visit your favorite stores and save any items that you might be interested in. You'll then receive notifications via email or mobile push when an item you've saved goes on sale, has a relevant coupon code, or comes back in stock. And like I said, you can also organize your items into various wish lists, helping you shop more mindfully and intelligently and just avoiding impulse buys. Karma scans the web for coupon codes and applies them at checkout automatically. This is a special feature if you use Karma on your computer, making their Chrome extension a must. Plus, you can also get cash back via PayPal when you shop at select retail partners. So if you're interested in saving money with Karma, you can download the Chrome extension via my link in the description. A huge thank you to Karma for sponsoring today's video. It is genuinely such a helpful service. I really do recommend it. And of course, checking it out also helps support the channel. So for today's story time, I'm going to be telling you guys about my most embarrassing on-stage moments from while I've been doing cosplay competitions. If you guys didn't know, I do have a dance background, and for many years I did cosplay skits where I would basically dress up as characters and do various dances, and it was a really fun time. I really do miss doing it. The main reason I stopped doing it was that I just kind of ran out of ideas for skits to do, and I just really missed doing performances ever since. So I hope someday I can maybe, you know, be refreshed with like new ideas for skits and I can go back to performing, because I miss performing a lot. I performed in a lot of different competitions. I won a bunch of them. It was a super fun time in my life, and I definitely miss it. Obviously, when it comes to performances, things go wrong, and I'm going to be telling you guys about a couple of times that things went very wrong on stage and I just had to roll with it, but it's still regardless made for a very embarrassing experience. So let's get into it. So the first story that I have was from, I believe, 2014, and I was cosplaying BMO from Adventure Time, and I did this skit where I basically went on stage and was like, who wants to play video games? And then did this little dance, and it was a super simple skit, nothing too crazy, but something unfortunate happened while I was in the dress rehearsal for this particular contest. So if you guys don't know, usually for cosplay competitions, they will have you do a dry run just in front of the other competitors. It's just an opportunity to test out the sound, have you kind of get familiar with the stage area, and so you're not actually doing it for real in front of an actual audience, you're just doing it in front of the organizers and in front of your fellow competitors, so it's pretty chill and low pressure. So luckily this was when this first embarrassing thing happened, so it wasn't like a huge deal, but it was still kind of embarrassing nonetheless. So I go on stage, and for my BMO cosplay I had these two big buns on my head. I'd kind of hastily put these buns together pretty shortly before the convention. I was definitely on a con crunch for this cosplay, so they weren't necessarily glued on super well. You guys can see where this is going. So I get on stage and I start dancing, and I feel one of the buns start to kind of come loose, and I'm thinking, oh no, that had better not come off. And so I keep dancing, and I can feel it. It's like coming off. So I have to stop doing my dance. This is right in the middle of my performance. So I have to stop doing my dance and like rip it off and put it down on front of the stage. Now, this was not the embarrassing part at all. I'm totally fine with like the show must go on. Like, things happen. It was during the rehearsal, and the rehearsal is exactly when these kinds of things should happen. So I personally was not super embarrassed at the fact that my bun had come off. What made me embarrassed was everybody's reaction, because as soon as I started doing this, everyone was like, oh no, and like feeling really sorry for me. All of these people just like feeling sorry for me and being like, you know, oh no, that was what made me super embarrassed, because if people had just ignored it and just, you know, I had just taken it off and just went back to dancing as usual, I would have been totally fine. Like, I would have not have been embarrassed at all. But it was the fact that like this huge auditorium full of people were just making a huge deal out of it. That was what made me embarrassed. So anyway, I took the bun off. Luckily, I had a glue gun with me, so after my performance, I was able to glue it back on. I glued it on super well for my actual performance, and I went and actually did the skit for real in front of the audience. And luckily, during that skit, during like the actual performance, I was nervous that it was going to come off again, and I was kind of like bracing myself for that to happen. But luckily, it all stayed on and everything was fine. Not necessarily the most embarrassing experience, but still an embarrassing experience nonetheless. Now it's time for the second story, and the second story is where things get horribly embarrassing. I'm gonna be reliving this for you guys, and I really hope you enjoy this story, because oh my gosh, it's one of those things where I look back now, even like, what was it, maybe it's been like 8 years, so almost a decade, and I still Okay, let's just get into it. So this was 2013, and I was doing this Super Smash Brothers skit with a couple of friends at the time. So I was cosplaying Pit, and they were cosplaying Pikachu and Dark Link. And the premise of this skit, it was a parody of Good Morning Baltimore from Hairspray, but it was called Good Morning Smash World. And the premise of this skit was that at that point, people finally knew who Pit was, because this was back in the Brawl era, the Super Smash Brothers Brawl era of Smash Brothers. So that was when Pit was first introduced as a character in Smash. Previous to that, people didn't really know Kid Icarus. So if you don't know, Pit is a character from Kid Icarus, and Kid Icarus is like the super old school game that not a lot of people know about. So they finally put him in Super Smash Brothers Brawl, and so people finally kind of knew who he was. And then after that, we got Kid Icarus Uprising, which was a 3DS game. So people finally kind of knew who he was. But previous to that, people didn't really know who Pit was, because not a lot of people played Kid Icarus, the original game. Hopefully I explained that okay. So the premise of this game was basically Pit being this huge kind of douche about people finally knowing who he was. So he comes in and he has like this swagger, and he's like, yeah, people finally know who I am now that I'm in Smash Brothers, and you know, people are gonna know my name, and I'm super cool, and I'm famous now, and all of you guys, you know, just can't compare to me because I'm famous now, kind of thing. And then he sings this song called Good Morning Smash World, which again is a parody of Good Morning Baltimore, where he talks about how he's basically super cool and people finally know who he is, and he's grateful to be in Smash Brothers, and it's great for him to be in Smash Brothers and stuff like that. So that's the basic premise of the skit. So, I don't have formal vocal training. So you guys probably know where this is going. So I decided that I was going to sing this parody of Good Morning Baltimore. So many things went wrong. So many things. Just the lead up to this skit. So many things went wrong. So what I would do when I was practicing this song is I would just practice it without the backing track, right? There's this backtrack that I had found on the internet for, you know, that was an instrumental version of Good Morning Baltimore. And I didn't sing to that. I would just practice it, singing it by myself. Now, what I hadn't learned is that when you're singing a song just by yourself without a backing track, you're automatically going to sing it in your own range. But when you're singing with a backing track, you're trying to match the key of the backing track, right? So all of you music people watching are probably rolling your eyes right now, and you probably know exactly where this is going. So we had months and months to practice this skit, and I was practicing the song, and I would practice it without the backing track, and I was happy with how it sounded, and it all sounded great and everything was fine. Furthermore, when my friends and I, we had this dance routine that we had to choreograph. And when we were practicing the dance routine, we weren't practicing it to a version of Good Morning Smash World that I had already recorded. We instead practiced it to the original recording of Good Morning Baltimore, and then just mentally change the words in our head because we knew what the parody was going to be. So what I'm trying to say is that there was no opportunity really for me to have practiced singing this song with the proper backing track until we get to the week of the convention. And I finally sit down and try to record this song with the backing track. And what I hadn't accounted for was that the track was not in a key that I could apparently sing in. So every time I sat down to do it, I would struggle because it was in a key that I wasn't used to singing in, and it was a challenge for me, right? And again, I don't have any formal training, so I didn't have an instructor who could help me or anything. It was just me in my room trying to sing this song. I tried to record this song so many different times, and I wasn't happy with any of the results. But at that point, it was the week of the convention. You know, at this stage, we're like a few days before the convention. I'm trying to record the song and it's still not happening. So I procrastinated because since it wasn't going well, I just put it aside for a little bit until the night before the performance. I was up until midnight trying to record this gosh darn song, and it just was not going well. And I remember it was midnight and I had to get up early for the performance the next day, and I just had to go with the best take that I had, which all of the takes were bad. But this particular take was that was the best that I could do with what I had. And I knew that it was bad, right? So I bring the song to the convention. We're there waiting for the competition to start. Now, I don't usually get nervous about performing, but oh boy, was I nervous about performing that day because I knew that my singing was garbage, and we were all going to be performing in front of all these people, and it was going to be a cringy mess because I sounded terrible. And there was no going back. Like we had already practiced it. My friends who were superstars had memorized their dance routine, memorized their cues and everything, and like they were ready to go. I couldn't let them down by just deciding to pull out of this competition, right? If it had just been me, I could have just quit the last minute. But since I had a group, I had to follow through, right? Ugh. So I'm super nervous. I have my parents there because previous to that I had insisted that they come and watch it. So my parents are there. There's this huge room full of people. Like the place is at max capacity. Everybody wants to see this cosplay contest. And so we get up there and I know that I'm about to embarrass myself in front of hundreds and hundreds of people. And that's exactly what happens. Like, the song comes on, it sounds terrible, I'm dying inside, but I'm just trying to like get it over with, go through the motions and everything. This just like terrible off-key singing in front of all of these people. It's just, the cringe was so real. The cringe was so real. And then we get halfway through the skit, and then our music just cuts out, which to most people would be super embarrassing. But I was actually very relieved because at that point, nobody was hearing me sing anymore. And it was just dead silence. And I was like, okay, you know what? Like, most people would find this moment embarrassing, but I'm okay with it. So while the song has cut out, like, there's this awkward pause, and then we just kind of played off of it being like, oh my gosh, the game is lagging, it's taking so long to load. And then eventually the music cuts back in and we finish the skit, and that's that. At that stage, I'm just glad that it's over. But all of this whole room full of people has heard me sing really terribly. And people are gonna see me for the rest of the convention and be like, oh, there's that Pit who sang really terribly, right? Like, it's gonna be awkward for everyone. Now, in the end, we actually ended up winning Best in Show, which you all watching may be thinking like, oh, well, your singing couldn't have been that bad because you won Best in Show. It was still bad. It was still really bad. I to this day think that they gave us Best in Show because of the effort that we put into it and because we were able to kind of roll with the punches when the music cut out. I feel like that was probably more so why they gave us Best in Show, and it had nothing to do with the singing. I'm not gonna look this skit back up. I'm not gonna relive it to see if my singing was actually bad. I just don't wanna I just don't want to relive this, but you guys have to trust me when I say that my singing was bad. It was off key. The whole thing was super embarrassing. But regardless, in the end, we managed to win Best in Show, which was great. I'm very grateful for that, but it doesn't negate the fact that my singing was terrible and I embarrassed myself in front of all of these people. And I'm sure that my friends at the time felt embarrassed too, because they had to dance to this off-key singing in front of all of these people. And again, they were absolute superstars. Like, I really appreciate all the work that they put in and the fact that they just rolled with it. They were fantastic. So that was my experience, embarrassing myself and my friends in front of hundreds of people at a cosplay competition. I really hope you guys can get the secondhand embarrassment from all of this. I just really hope it comes across just how embarrassing it was. Like, just like the whole time I was up there dancing, I was just like, this is bad, this is embarrassing, I want to die. Like, it was so bad. So the moral of the story is, if you're going to be singing a song using a backing track, please practice with the backing track. And if you can't sing to the backing track, figure something else out, because that backing track just doesn't work with your range of singing, and you need to find one in a different key that's actually going to work. That's the moral of the story. I learned that the hard way, but never again will I make that same mistake. If I ever decide to sing again, I will not make that mistake. I will say, however, that I managed to redeem myself, because the next day I performed in the talent show. I performed my original Homestuck love song, and I sang real well. Everything was fine because it's a song that I wrote, so it was in my range, and I managed to win first place in that contest. So I feel like I managed to redeem myself. People could see that, yes, okay, she can actually sing. Just, you know, the day before was just a sad, unfortunate incident, but, you know, she could actually sing. It's fine. So anyway, oh, it's so embarrassing. And I know that probably if you're watching this video and you saw that skit, please let me know. I'd love to see how many people watching this video were actually there seeing that skit. I know it was bad, and I'm so sorry. Anyway, that's it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Another huge thank you to Karma for sponsoring today's video. If you want to check out Karma for yourselves, I will have a link down in the description to check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you guys cringed and felt the secondhand embarrassment, because really that's all I want. You know, if I had to go through this embarrassment, then so do you, secondhand. If you're new here and you'd like to see more videos like this, I put out new nerdy videos every Sunday, and it would be awesome to have you here, so please feel free to subscribe to see more. Thank you as always for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. I will see you guys all next time, but until then, Panda Faces, please be sure to take care. Bye!